What up, party people? I'm Erika. Welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about Simon and Porsha. Simon is about to get deported, y'all. It's crazy. Porsha, you in danger, girl. Let's get into it. Guys, as you all know, Porsha is returning back to Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she has some great things going on. And on the cusp of that, we find out some crazy, crazy news about Simon. So let me pull up the court documents for you right here so we can take a look and find out that, of course, Porsha done married herself a Nigerian scammer, y'all. Let's see here. All right. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. All right. Now, this is actually the order that was entered into the court. This is not the original complaint. So, Simon has been deported several times since he originally came here to the US as a child. So, let's take a look at it. All right, you guys, let's get into it. I'm going to try to go through this dismissal court order as quickly as possible, but it has some juicy tidbits about Simon, the scammer, Guobadia. And then I'm sorry, I know I'm mispronouncing his last name. I'll try to get that together by the next video. All right, you guys, let's get into it. Now, I had to adjust it so that my blind eyes can see, but here we go, y'all. Okay, so originally Simon filed this petition back in 2023. And so he's the petitioner because he was already kind of supposed to be deported, y'all. So I'm not saying that's why he married Portia because he was already married to Fallon. Was she, could she not get him immigration department allow him to become a citizen of the United States. But let's take a look at his history. That is what is so amazing about this court order. Okay, so here is the order. So the Department of Immigration, the US Citizenship and Immigration Services, um, filed a motion to dismiss his case, and that motion was granted, which means he's not granted citizenship, which was his original complaint. And perhaps if it becomes a thing or we hear more about it, I haven't, I'm still working on my Pacer account. It was inactivated, so I'm trying to get that updated. So I wasn't able to get an actual copy of his original complaint, but I'll come back if I can do that later. But yeah, okay. So this is the US government's motion to dismiss Simon's case. It was granted recently, probably I think last week or so, and the court grants the motion to dismiss the petitioner's case. Okay. Um, Now, the background of this case is what's really like crazy. I don't know if Portia knew this or not. I don't know if Fallon knew this or not, but so many red flags, girl. Portia, you in danger. You in danger. Okay. Okay, so it says this case arises out of petitioner's application for United States citizenship and naturalization. The USCIS, which is the Immigration Department, denied petitioner's application on July 27th of 2022. Now, I want to go back and kind of fact check this with his relationship with Portia and go through that whole timeline. But let's just get this out today so we know what's popping. And then we can speculate in the comments and kind of go back and forth is as to, did Portia know when she married him that he wasn't a citizen? And not only that, was nowhere near close to being a citizen. And for those of us who watch 90 Day Fiance, we already know that there are fiance, but they all run together. All right. Petitioner is a Nigerian citizen. He first entered the country in the United States August 11th, 1982, and he was a child when he first entered. I don't exactly know how old he was, but let's give him a break. Even if he old, he was still probably a kid in 82. He overstayed his visitor visa. So he probably, I assume, came in with family as a child and overstayed because you're a kid, you can't leave, right? And in 1985, INS denied his application for adjustment status. Okay, so now here's the thing. There's a footnote here. So let's see what it says. Footnote number: Petitioner's adjustment of status application in 1985 was based on his marriage. So he tried to marry somebody before to become a citizen, which the agency deemed a sham because of statements by his spouse that the two of them had not resided together and the marriage was never consummated. So I assume hopefully he paid that hoe some cash because he didn't sleep with her, and they never even shared a space. So he didn't help her with no bills. So hopefully basically has committed fraud. Okay, let's keep going. Uh, okay. He overstayed his visitor visa, and in 1985, INS denied his application for adjustment of status, and that was due to the sham marriage. He was declared deportable and voluntarily departed from the United States on December 28th, 1985. So after they said, we have determined that your marriage is a lie, he decided to leave rather than be deported. Totally makes sense. But wait, there's more. He then re-entered the United States in June of 1986. So he went home. Let's see, when did he go home? He left in December. 6 months later, he was like, bitches, I'm back. Okay. In Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice, I'll be back. And he came back. So then he re-entered the United States in June of 1986. Petitioner again overstayed his 6-month visitor visa. Now, why he didn't just go to Mexico and come back or do something, but you can't stay past the 6 months. You can kick it for 6 months, but then you gotta go. So in September of 1987, so he came back in June of 1986. He should have left probably around the end of that year, December, January, 6 months from that time. The following September, which he's overstayed by this time, petitioner, this is the thing, okay? You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be an illegal, be a good illegal. Don't be a bad illegal. Add something to the community. Do some good works, but not our Simon. No, not Simon the scammer. This is what he does. So then in September of 1987, after he'd been kicking it way well past his stay here illegally, he should be someplace cutting grass or doing something to make some cash under the table. But nah, driving a taxi, something. This is what he's doing. Petitioner was arrested for bank and credit card fraud and pleaded guilty to a felony offense. A felony, y'all, not even a misdemeanor, not even, too many parking tickets. He pleaded guilty to a felony. So, for those of us that watch 90 Day Fiance, we know that felonies are the main reason that criminal backgrounds, and specifically felonies, and certainly ones that involved moral turpitude, i.e., fraud and lying, are easily ones that would not only one get you deported, but two stop you from becoming a citizen. Okay. So I don't know what guilty. It doesn't say here. Let's see if it says, did he do any jail time? Let's look in the footnotes. Okay, so we don't know if he did jail time or not for that first offense. I'm assuming that he did some jail time of some sort. We'll have to get back on the extra facts of that. But okay, so 1987, he pled guilty for bank and credit card fraud. He was arrested in January of 1989. So whatever time he did, it was less than 2 years because lo and behold, He's still here. He still overstayed the visa. The visa has expired. He's already committed fraud, which would stop him. So he probably is like, okay, if I can stay without them making me leave, because I know with the felony, I won't be back. So then he says he was arrested in January of 1989 for unauthorized use of a vehicle and again in May 1990 for fraud. So 1989, my understanding was he was arrested basically for driving without a license. So I don't think he stole a car or anything. But again in 1990, he's arrested again for fraud. Okay, I'm sorry, just because you Nigerian don't mean fraud is the only thing you can do. You know what I'm saying? I how are you all feeling? Right now, I'm feeling like Porsha done married herself a full-grown Yahoo boy. Okay, so thereafter, the agency began removal proceedings. I would think so. I'm not clear as to why they didn't do it from the first fraud, why he is continuing. He's still here in 91, and his visa ended in, I think, the end of 86. So I don't know what the government is doing or was doing, but they was chilling right there. Okay, January 1981, petitioner committed another felony offense, credit card fraud. Again, Simon, I don't know what to tell you. Get into real estate, maybe. I don't know. I don't see why you can't drive a taxi. I'm not not trying to be funny, but if you're here illegally, there's certain jobs you can do that are legitimate but under the radar. But actually committing felonies is not a way to say you want to be in this country. Okay. Again, he committed another felony offense, credit fraud, in April of 1991. An immigration judge, a hearing and ordered petitioner be deported. And that was in April of 1991. On March 4th, 1992, petitioner was dropped and physically removed, was deported, excuse me, and physically removed from the United States. So they picked him up and said, hit the road, Jack. You out of here, boo. Um, Okay, so before March 1992 removal, however, on October 24th, 1988, so that was several years before, petitioner used a different identity to seek temporary resident status under the Special Agricultural Worker Program. Okay, so not only is he defrauding us US citizens, now he's pretending to be somebody else and taking advantage of our programs cuz yeah, cuz obviously if he wasn't in the program, somebody who was here, doing things legally would have been in his place. He also did not include his criminal history on his S on that application. When his SAW application was approved with misrepresentations and omissions, he was given a registration card as a temporary resident on July 25th, 1991. So, July, okay, so that was just before, because he was deported in 1992. So he got his temporary resident and registration card. It looks like not quite a year, maybe 8 or 9 months. My math is off before he was actually physically deported. Okay, so as part of the SAW immigration benefits, petitioners temporary residence two. In other words, 26 days after he had been deported under his other undisclosed identity. Now, are any of you all sitting here wondering, is Simon his real identity? Because I know I want to know. Like, is there something attached with his actual birth certificate? His name might not really be Simon Guobadia. But if any of you all know, let me know. Okay. All right. So basically he okay, so on April 26th, he was deported, but after he got deported, um he got the permanent residency card under the other fake name. But part of me is like, is that the Simon Guobadia name? Like, I don't know. I'm confused. Okay. On December 22nd, 2016, petitioner applied for naturalization under his second identity. See, all the identities are confusing me. They're all running together. And was denied because his temporary resident status was unlawfully granted. So I guess he was like, y'all Americans are stupid. I'm from Nigeria. I done been here under 3, 4 different names, and the one that is lawfully here, I want that that one to be naturalized. Okay, and I know you guys aren't gonna look and double check. On December okay, so alright, so okay, so it was denied. But I'm sure he didn't go nowhere because he ain't been leaving. On December 31st of 2020, petitioner filed another application for naturalization following an interview with petitioner. USCIS again denied petitioner's naturalization application. Maybe because he done committed 3, 4 felonies, not to mention lied on applications, which is also illegal, and got 3 or 4 different random identities. Basically, he is a full-grown Yahoo boy, okay? Explained that he was ineligible because he had not been lawfully admitted for permanent residence. No, because he lied on that original application, which is illegal. His temporary resident status achieved through the SAW program and benefit as do you all wonder, did he willfully conceal this criminal background from Porsha? Is she finding out about this through the YouTube videos and the court order like we are, or did she already know and she's ride or die, Bonnie and Clyde? That's what I'm curious. On October 24th, 2022, petitioner, and then again, some of I got to do my history, y'all, because I want to know when was he married to Fallon and all of this. Did Fallon know? And when was he married? When did he start courting Portia? And did he reveal? On October 24th, 2022, petitioner requested a hearing on this decision, and USCIS reaffirmed the denial of his naturalization application on November 15th, 2022. Cause you a full blown criminal, boo. Okay. On March 13th, 2023, which was last March, petitioner filed the instant complaint in this court and asked the court to vacate the denial and remand with instructions to grant petitioner's application. He's like, no, vacate this. And I need to see his original complaint, because I'm like, have you done anything other than fraud and scam and drive illegally since you've been here? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so just as sort of like the legalese behind it, the petitioner and his had not made any rulings and would rule it like from nothing, de novo, from the beginning, like anew. But he didn't request that. He requested, uh, let's see. So he didn't request, let's see, a de novo hearing. And so, and even if they were to grant one, the court does not find a hearing on this matter to be necessary, given that no further factual development is needed and this matter can be fully resolved based on their arguments in the complaint and briefing on USCIS's motion to dismiss. So basically, based on their motion, based on what he presented in the complaint, you know, I haven't seen the complaint, so I am missing that document, but obviously he can't counteract that he's committed these felonies because he pled to at least one for sure. Okay. We won't go through the legal standard analysis. Let's look at this. So the petitioner's complaint asks this court to vacate the USCIS USIS. I don't know. I have to come up with something for that acronym and see what people usually say. Decision denying his naturalization application and remand with instructions to grant his application. USCIS moved to dismiss petitioner's complaint because he failed to assert a basis for the court to grant his naturalization application. Briefing on the USCIS's motion to dismiss is complete. Thus, the court must determine if petitioner has stated a claim that his naturalization application should be granted based on the information in his complaint and his attachments. The residence. So this goes back to his permanent residence being achieved under a second identity, um, because he took advantage of that program. And in getting into that program, he had to lie about his criminal background. Otherwise, he probably would um he wouldn't have been admitted to that program to begin with. So there were several different layers of fraud in him applying for that program, participating in that program, and then being granted permanent residency under one, a different identity, and two, didn't not actually putting out there his criminal background, which had to be a question to get into the program. Let's see. More specifically, the applicant must have been a lawful permanent resident for at least 5 years, reside in the United States continuously between his naturalization application and admission to citizenship, and be a person of good moral character. Moral character. Moral character, Simon. Attached to the principles of the Constitution of the United States and well disposed to the good order and happiness of the United States. You have spent half your life scamming us through bank fraud and credit card fraud. That's the first thing. So you ain't got no moral character. And also, your application was totally based on lies. Uh, he was not a lawful permanent resident. Um, we already gone through the illegality of his application for that SAW program. And then improperly answered no to the question of whether he had any prior arrests or convictions. He had definitely a conviction because he pled guilty, and he had multiple arrests for several different types of fraud, not to mention unlawful use of a vehicle. Let's see. Okay, so the main issue that the court took is that in this lawsuit requiring the court's de novo review of the USCIS's decision, the petitioner, Simon, importantly does not dispute these factual findings. He's like, look, dude, I know I'm a criminal. Of his testimony or the government records were incorrect. Instead, petitioner contends that USCIS misrepresented the significance of the misrepresentations on petitioner's application. What? The court treats the complaints, allegations, and its attachments, which include USCIS decisions accordingly. Petitioner first argues that he should be granted naturalization because Immigration Services has not raised any concerns about petitioner's permanent status for 3 decades. He's saying, because I've been here scamming for 30 years and you ain't done nothing, it's too late to do it now. No, boo. That would be incorrect. Okay. Um, Indeed, until the petitioner's naturalization application, no immigration official has contended that he was anything but a personally lawfully granted permanent resident status. That's because they didn't know you had committed fraud until they went back and took a look. Petitioner then argues that he should not be made to bear the burden of the government. He argues that the appropriate remedy for the issues regarding petitioner's SAW application would have been to terminate his temporary resident status, and he should not be denied naturalization now. The opportunity to revoke or terminate his temporary resident status, and having declined to do so, it lawfully admitted petitioner to permanent resident status. Okay, even though they didn't know who the petitioner was because you went under a fake identity, because we didn't say nothing, now by default you should be a citizen. Well, I'm sure he does have some money because this is definitely a creative way. The service may not raise its own lack of action as a ground to deny petitioner citizenship. No, it's not their lack of action. It's the fact that you committed fraud several different times and you lied on the application. And the application wasn't really for you, it was for your other identity, your other personality. The court finds the petitioner's arguments to be unpersuasive. The court rejects the suggestion that USCIS is at fault for not discovering petitioner's own misrepresentations and omissions. He's basically saying, y'all are so trifling. Y'all did not find out about my scamming. Therefore, I should be a citizen. So bold. Petitioner, in essence, asked the court to allow USCIS's previous money he got. Is he still like, is his millions that he and Porsha living off of, is that fraud money? I want to know. Don't you want to know? The court refuses to do so. To be sure, it is petitioner who unquestionably holds the statutorily imposed burden of proof to show his eligibility for naturalization. And those felonies make you ineligible, boo. The court does not find that this burden is carried merely based on the agency's erroneous treatment of petitioner status following his own misrepresentations and concealments. Moreover, petitioner lacks any legal support for his argument that as an operation of law, he achieved lawful permanent resident status by the agency not previously having corrected his status, which again was only granted given his own misrepresentations and omissions. Given his own basic fraud and lying, he thought he could get them. Well, y'all didn't find it, so now it's true. No, not in the US of A, babe. Okay, so we won't go through the legal whether fraudulent or not, because they were actually fraudulent, cannot be used against him to deny immigration benefits because of statutory confidentiality protections afforded to SAW applications. Oh, okay. What? Okay, that just sounds stupid. The court concludes that petitioner's argument misses the mark. That's the court's nice way of saying you stupid. All right, let's go through some of this. Based on the petitioner's complaint and the attachments therein, the court concludes that petitioner's permanent residency for purposes of his naturalization application depends on his permanent residency status achieved from his SAW benefits, i.e., his lied on application. Petitioner achieved his SAW benefits through misrepresentations and omissions regarding his identity. Yeah, putting your name as someone else, criminal history, and other personal characteristics. And thereby petitioner's permanent residency status is not lawful for purposes of granting his application for naturalization. Without lawful permanent residency status, petitioner's complaint fails to state a claim that he meets the eligibility requirements for naturalization. And this is based on statute. Conclusion. For the foregoing reasons, the court grants the USCIS's motion to dismiss and dismisses the petitioner's case. Now the question is, when and if he will be deported. Also, we're looking at how is this going to impact, of course, let's bring it down to the real. How is this going to impact our girl Porsha? Okay. What is going to happen? What is going to happen to Porsha? Okay. I mean, since Porsha has decided to re-sign with Real Housewives of Atlanta, she signed a very large development deal with NBC. So she's in the running to make some real money. Speaking of running, Porsha girl, run. Run. Okay. If you don't run, this is what you need. Deuces, baby. Throw up the deuces. Okay. If you don't do that, I don't know, but you need to get out of there, Porsha. You have some great things going on, girl. I mean, you here's the question I would want to know, and I will try to investigate and see if I can find out more about is one, they're definitely going now that he's on TV. It's not like he's hiding. It's not like I said, it's not like he's out there driving cabs. He is on television, okay? And Bravo will be filming him. So so they know where to find him now. So the question is, now that he filed these motions, now that they've been denied, when will he be deported? Okay. The second thing is, I want to know, where is he getting his money from? Is it from the fraud? Is he still doing bank fraud? Is he still doing credit card fraud? Is he still doing identity theft things? Is that because then they can also obviously freeze his account, charge him with any, they can also basically charge him criminally and also deport him. Okay. So Porsha girl, you married to him. So if he told you all of this, since y'all been married, you can't be forced to testify. But this sounds like this could be grounds for annulment to me, girl. Get on up out of there. All right, you guys, that's it for tonight. But thank you. Thank you guys for checking me out. Like, comment, subscribe, and ciao for now, folks. I'll be back in the next video. Let's do it. All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks.